If you're a beginner training for your handstand, but you haven't been warming up before your actual handstand workouts, then you're like most people starting out on their handstand journey. But warming up for your handstand is one of the best things that we can do to prevent injuries and also maximize form while you're actually training in your handstand so you get the most out of your session. In this video, I'm going to take you through a complete handstand warm-up, including your shoulders, wrists, elbows, hips, all the joints that we need in order to properly prep for our handstand and warm up before our workout. Before we get into this warm-up, I'd recommend that you have a pull-up bar as well as a resistance band. If you don't have either of these, that's totally fine. You can just go ahead and skip the exercises that use those two warm-up items, and whenever you're ready, let's get straight into it. The first part of the warm-up revolves around increasing your body temperature. You can do this in a few different ways: going for a jog, jumping rope, or doing 1 to 2 minutes of jumping jacks or a different dynamic movement. This portion of the warm-up isn't meant to be a full-blown cardio session or make you out of breath, but rather to raise your core body temperature and increase your heart rate. Here we're beginning to move blood throughout the body, specifically to the muscles surrounding the wrists, elbows, shoulders, hips, and all other joints so that we can stabilize them as we move into the handstand hold. Moving into exercises to warm up the shoulder, we'll begin in a dead hang, hanging anywhere between 15 seconds to 1 minute, and aim for whichever end of that time frame is a challenge for you. The dead hang is a great exercise to stretch out your shoulders and prepare them for the handstand, as well as warm up your forearms and wrists, which are the foundations of our handstand. Once you've finished your dead hang, we'll move on to more shoulder opening stretches and perform each of these back to back with no rest in between. These shouldn't be intense enough that your muscles are actually tired before going into your handstand session. Exercise number 1 is arm circles. Locking your elbows, focus on moving them in large clockwise circles, focusing on keeping as big of a range in motion as possible. Do 12 of these and then move on to counterclockwise. Moving into a band assist, the next warm-up is shoulder dislocations, where you hold each end of a resistance band, your thumbs facing each other like this, and then perform the same arm circle as before, remembering to breathe throughout this motion and do 8 complete circles in each direction. Next, place a small resistance band around your wrists, or you can cross a long resistance band like this and use it as a shorter band. Your wrists should face away from each other with your palms facing towards your face. Then perform 12 pulses, focusing on moving your hands away from each other. And this warms up our external rotator cuff muscles, which are very important in our handstand. Next, we're dropping the band. We're moving into elbow circles, where we isolate the upper arm and focus on only moving our forearms at our elbow joints here. Perform 12 in each direction. Now moving down to the floor, we're going to perform the next exercises back to back with no rest, laying flat on our stomach here. Starting with your elbows bent at a 90-degree angle, think about squeezing your shoulders to lift your arms off the floor. Keep your chest on the floor and focus on isolating the movement in your shoulders and not raising your chest up. This helps us warm up our shoulders rather than our upper back. Perform 10 of these. As soon as you're finished with those, straighten your arms out in front of your body, and while keeping your chest on the floor, isolate the movement in your shoulders again rather than your upper back, so chest staying on the floor, and you're going to lift your arms in front of you off of the floor 10 times. And now for the last shoulder exercise, you're going to move your arms back out to your sides so that they're at a perpendicular angle with your body. Lift them off the floor, making sure that you're lifting your hands and your elbows off the floor. Do 15 little circles, bringing your hands backwards. The warm-up is important in preparing the central nervous system to becoming upside down for the handstand. Since we spend most of our life on our feet, it takes time to adjust the central nervous system to being on our hands and being upside down. And now we're moving into our wrist warm-up. So for all of these, we'll be isolating the movement at our wrist. First exercise, we're going to perform 12 wrist circles, moving your wrists away from each other. And once you've finished those, move your wrists towards each other, so 12 in each direction here. Now moving on to our cat claw exercise, which is going to target our flexor and extensor muscles, which are the muscles that surround our wrist. We're going to perform 15 of these total. Really focus on squeezing your hands into full flexion and full extension here. So fingertips fully towards the sky or fully towards the floor. You might feel a little bit of a baby burn here. Next, placing your hands on the floor, start by applying very little pressure as you gently press your hands away from the floor. Placing your hands on the floor here now, you're going to either keep your fingertips or your knuckle joints attached to the floor completely here as we press our hands away from the floor. Start by applying very little pressure as you gently press away from the floor, and do this 10 times. When you're lowering your hands to touch the floor again, try to stay in control of your muscles. Remember, the goal is to start warming up these muscles, get them used to working in the range in motion, and not just going through the reps. Now flip your hands so that the back rests on the floor here, and even more gently perform 10 of these floor press-aways. Walk your hands towards your feet and lean less into your hands to be super gentle here. So sit back into your heels more. You don't need to apply a lot of pressure here for this to be effective. And our final wrist exercise is our Italian curls. So starting with your pinky finger, one by one, you're gonna curl your fingers into your palm, moving from pinky finger to pointer finger. Perform 8 of these and then move to the other hand. And you should feel a little bit of a pump in your flexors here. Now that our wrists and shoulders are warmed up, we're moving into a few leg and core exercises to prepare the body for the handstand. First one is going to be your Cossack squat. Standing with your feet wide apart, shift your weight onto one side, bending that knee and keeping the other leg straight. Sitting as low as you can while keeping your chest up and your heel down. The foot of the bent leg should be facing forward, while the toes of your straightened leg should be pointing to the ceiling. Sit as low as you can while keeping your chest up and your heel down. Hold for about a second and then push into the floor with your flat foot to return to the center and move to the other side. You're going to perform 8 of these total, which is 4 per side. And if you're having trouble balancing with the floor Cossack squat, you can hold a chair or a bench to help stabilize as you shift your weight from side to side. If you're flexible enough, you can also use the floor to walk your hands from side to side to help as well. Other than being great for hip mobility, the Cossack squat is amazing for improving body alignment and your balance as you get into your handstand. Moving into exercise number 2, the pancake. The pancake stretches out your hamstrings, inner thighs, lower back, and makes it easier for you to kick into your handstand. For the pancake, sitting on the floor with your legs spread wide apart, keep your back flat as you slowly reach forward with both hands. Hinging at your hips and leaning as far forward as you can without touching the floor and still staying upright, you should feel a stretch in your legs and lower back here. Now, returning to the upright seated position, you're going to repeat this exercise for 8 total pancakes. And if these are feeling too intense, you can always elevate your hips on a block or a bench. Lastly, it's time to activate the core with a few exercises, starting with hollow holds. Laying with your back on the floor here, extend your arms behind you and lift your legs and your arms off the floor. The most important thing to focus on is keeping your lower back pressed into the floor. There should be no gap between your lower back and the floor here. You're gonna hold for 30 seconds. Doing 1 to 2 exercises of core before your handstands helps you train to maintain that full body tension, which you're gonna need to stay in a handstand when you're actually upside down on your hands. You don't wanna be floppy in your handstand. You always wanna have very active muscles so you're nice and tight and engage the entire handstand. After 30 seconds, extend your legs straight in front of you, a few inches off the floor, but not touching, and then crunch them back into your chest, and repeat this for 15 total crunches. And that is a full handstand warm-up routine. I hope you enjoyed it. Now you're ready to get into your handstand session, and I will see you in the next video.